and employees of the Equity Credit Union, I would like to welcome you all to the 77th Annual General Meeting. This year, as a precautionary measure to ensure the health and safety of our shareholders, our employees, and other stakeholders amid the public health concerns of COVID-19, the meeting will be held in a virtual online format only. The meeting will be an audio webcast, and you will have an equal opportunity to participate as you have in the past with the ability to vote and ask questions. I will now ask our Corporate Secretary, John Loretto, if we have quorum and advise of the actual number of registered members.
Mr. Chair, we have 27 registered members, and yes, we have quorum.
Thank you, John. I now declare the meeting legally constituted. Our current bylaws do not allow for an AGM to take place virtually. Therefore, our first order of business is to present and vote on an amendment to the bylaw to allow this meeting to proceed. You would have seen this amendment posted on our website. I have a motion from Peter Sideris and seconded by John Loretto. Any questions? Any opposed? Motion carried. We now have the authority to proceed with the formal virtual meeting. I now would like to introduce our board of directors. As I mentioned, I'm Larry Biancoling and I am your chair. Bonnie Downing, our vice chair. John Loretto, our corporate secretary. Craig Nichols, Peter Sideris, Art Jessup, Bill Downing, Adil Qureshi, and Janine Wilson. I would also like to welcome our staff. Thomas Dimson, our CEO, Nancy Smith, our manager of lending, Paula Gonçalves, our admin manager, Joanne Key, our mortgage and loans officer, Shanique Winter-Linton, our mortgage administrator, Ruth DeRoche, our MSR, Debbie Sabo, our MSR, Gaetan Gilbert, our administration officer, and Jeanette Pantalarescu, our MSR. I'd also like to introduce our guests. We have Helen Thomas, our FSRA representative, Joe Bates from MNP, our chartered accountants and external auditors, and Carol Lewis, our recording secretary. Everyone should have had the opportunity to read the minutes of the 76th AGM, which were posted on the website. At this point, I'd like to ask if there are any errors or omissions. We did have one so far, correcting Mrs. Godfrey's name, which has been corrected. Do we have any other errors or omissions to report? With that, I have a motion from Art Jessup, seconded by Adil Qureshi. Do we have any questions? Any opposed? Motion carried. Report of the Board of Directors. Once again, the Equity Credit Union performed admirably in 2019. We grew our top line significantly. However, we also faced increased pressure on our costs. The net result in profit was similar to 2018, truly a success in light of the increasingly competitive mortgage market and attractive deposit rates. Our growth of assets increased significantly, outpacing 2018, an impressive result on its own, and more than double Ontario Credit Union results on a percentage basis. In 2020, despite the pandemic, we are well ahead of plan in both top line and bottom line. This is a testament to our strong portfolio that continues to be primarily mortgage-based. The commitment and expertise of the management staff and the board of directors continues to be a key contributor to the success of the Equity Credit Union. You can also find my full report available on the website. I have a motion from Art Jessup, seconded by John Loretto. Do we have any questions? Any opposed? Motion carried. I would like to offer an update with regards to our team. After 35 years with the credit union, Donna Raponi retired. And I would just like to say thank you, Donna. What a truly amazing feat, 35 years with the credit union. That's absolutely amazing. I'd also like to welcome 2 new employees who started with the credit union later in 2019. Shanique Winter-Linton as our mortgage administrator and Ruth DeRoche as our MSR. I would now like to introduce Tom Dinson to present the report of the CEO.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for attending tonight's first ever virtual AGM of your credit union. I'd like to welcome you to your credit union's AGM tonight. Let me start by thanking each and every one of you for your support and commitment to the credit union during 2019. As a result of your commitment, the credit union completed another very successful year. I would like to thank the staff and the board for their support during the past year. I'd also like to thank Larry Biancohen, who has been the chair of the board for 2019 and who has provided excellent leadership and governance and hard work and dedication as the chair. As we all know, COVID-19 pandemic has been quite an ordeal for everybody. And I'm sure you've heard enough about this pandemic. Who would have thought this would have occurred in our world? I would like to thank you, our members, who have worked through these unprecedented times with us. COVID-19 has created unprecedented challenges for people everywhere. Across Canada, governments, health officials, policymakers, and regulators have collaborated to respond with relief measures and assistance to reduce the financial stress on people in our communities, and we are very grateful for them stepping up and taking action in wake of this dreadful pandemic. At Equity Credit Union, the safety and security of all of our staff and members is our primary concern. So we have taken a number of measures to protect our home. For our employees, we moved very quickly to create 2 teams, and we work every other day at the office. On the days we are not at the credit union, we have our people working from their home. We are in regular communication with each other to make sure the needs of members are addressed. For our members and partners, we recognize that our members are navigating a health crisis while feeling concern about their financial security. We have set up payment relief to assist those who have been adversely financially affected by COVID-19. We want you to know that Equity Credit Union is committed to doing what we were originally founded to do, helping our members. We are here to help, and we will continue to work towards satisfactory solutions for our members until this situation is resolved. I encourage everyone to follow the public health guidelines. We care about your safety and well-being. We are in this together, and we will get through this. For 2019, I am delighted to report continued strong growth in assets, operating income, and net income. We are building on a foundation of strength while enjoying record performance in 2019. We have in place the capital, the systems, and the staff to continue our growth. I hope you had a chance to review our annual report that was posted on our website. Let's start with an overview of some slides for you. Next slide, please. As you can see, the credit union finished at year end at just shy of $174 million. That increase was $34 million and a half, which was an increase of 25%. Next slide, please. Our profit growth also, we had a very good year, and the last 3 years have been consistent around $1.6 million. Very, very positive, and it continues with the growth of the credit union. Next slide, please. This particular slide gives you a overview of the assets the credit union holds. As you can see, a good chunk of the assets are in mortgages. We've got about, the next big area is cash, and then smaller 2 areas of loans and other. But I think the important thing you can gather is between 2019 and 2018, the overall percentages are very, very similar and consistent. Next slide, please. And in terms of, as I mentioned to you earlier, we talked about the credit portfolio being, our major assets. Well, here is the mortgages, and it's a breakdown of our conventional mortgages, our insured mortgages, and our merit lines, which are home equity lines of credit, and a small degree, which is our personal loans. Next slide, please. And here's on the other side of the balance sheet, the liabilities. Here is a mix of our liabilities in 2019 and 2018. As you can see, a good chunk of our deposits are in term deposits. Then you have the next area of RRSPs, TFSAs, RRSPs, savings, and then there's our equity and a small other. Again, for most part, the numbers haven't varied a lot from year to year, very consistent. Next slide, please. Here's our member deposits. At year end, we ended the year at $161 million. That was an increase of 34.1 million, which translates into a 27% increase. As you know, we need our deposits because we use the deposits to fund our mortgage business. Next slide, please. And here's on the income side of things, here's a breakdown of the income that we earn. And I guess, common sense tells you, because a good chunk of our assets are in mortgages, consequently, the biggest part of our revenue comes in the form of mortgages. Then the next area is investments. We've got some in personal loans and other. Next slide, please. And this is the expense mix, our outflow of money. As you can see, a large chunk of our interest expense is related to our term deposits. Then we've got our operating expenses. Then we've got our RSPs, our RIFs, and our savings. And that gives you a breakdown of the overall expense of the credit union. Next slide, please. Bad debts. I guess, as every financial institution goes through, you can see 2015, 17, and 18, our bad debts were fairly consistent, about $50,000. We had a little uptake in 2016. And in 2019, we had a bad mortgage that we had to write off. And that's why it was just shy of $125,000. Take the next slide, please. Overall, our growth in assets is a key driver for our long-term strength. Growth in membership deposits is critical for our ability to finance our members' borrowing needs. So as we get into 2020, as I mentioned, we are in very unprecedented times. We're taking a very cautious view ahead. We've got a number of unknown variables. Future unemployment is definitely questionable. The housing market, very questionable over the next few months. As we know, manufacturing has slowed down, which has a negative effect on employment. There's downward pressure on inflation. The Bank of Canada has come out and said that they're going to keep rates low for the foreseeable next couple of years. As we've seen, consumers have tightened their belts and retail spending has tightened. However, I must say, for the first 5 months of 2020, we are reporting positive and strong results for the credit union. Our net income is ahead of budgeted numbers by $300,000, and our balance sheet has also increased since the end of the year by approximately $3 million. Again, during these unforeseen times, we've increased our liquidity levels to meet any unforeseen circumstances that may come. These are very positive markers as we wade through these choppy and uncharted waters. We are assisting our members, whether it be on the phone, in person, with physical distancing, or through the internet. The board and staff are fully committed to work through these uncharted waters to ensure the credit union continues to remain a strong and viable financial institution for years to come. As we move through this, of course, we want to continue to cultivate confidence for our members. It is very important in this day of age. We want to continue to deal with the various challenges of more players in the financial marketplace, that being more banks and more alternatives to people. We want to be number one with our members. The credit union will continue to look at ways to provide friendly delivery channels for its members. Nowadays, banking by convenience is very, very important. We must eliminate distance for our members as well as time horizons. Our virtual side of the business continues to grow more than ever. Our electronic banking, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, telephone, internet is free. Please use it. The credit union is also set up with the exchange network. This is where you can do deposits and withdrawals at certain designated ATMs where you do not have to pay a surcharge. This is very positive for our members that do not live close to the credit union. The exchange network is linked on our website. Go to this site and see the close ATMs around your home or office. Also, we will continue to maintain no service charges, unlike our competitors that boast billion-dollar profits. We want to continue to have competitive interest rates on deposits, mortgages, and loans. We want to increase our members' wealth over time. We will continue to examine new products and services to our members. Our mandate, of course, is to continue to attract new members, increasing our mortgage and loan portfolio as well as our deposits. By increasing our membership, this should also increase the overall asset size of the credit union to enhance the overall stability. We look forward to continuing our relationship with you in 2020 and providing our members with professional, courteous service that you deserve. We want to build relationship with you, the member for life. Now that we are a community credit union, please do not hesitate to refer friends as well as your family members that you believe can benefit from being part of our credit union. What better way to build our credit union than word of mouth from our satisfied members? Status quo is not an option for us. Standing still is like taking a step back. We must move forward with the credit union. Remember, the credit union is a financial cooperative owned by its members, who are the customers. It is owned and controlled by the people it serves, unlike a bank that have shareholders as well as customers. At the end of 2019, the credit union is in excellent financial shape. We should all be proud of this. And any time during the year, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please do not hesitate to talk to me about this. Thank you. That concludes my report, and I will now turn it back to the chair.
Do we have any questions? Okay. All right. So I have a motion from Peter Sedaris to accept the report of the CEO, seconded by Janine Wilson. Any questions? Any opposed? Motion carried. I would like to call on Nancy Smith to present the loan officer's report. The report is also available on our website.
During the year 2019, the credit union received 403 loan applications. There was an overall increase of 27.9 million in the lending portfolio, which is a 22% increase from last year's portfolio. Our net delinquency remained low at 0.67%, and all the delinquent accounts were covered by real estate with little to no risk to the credit union. I'd like to thank you for your business and look forward to another good lending year in 2020. I'll be happy to take any questions. Larry, there doesn't seem to be any questions.
Thank you, Nancy. I have a motion from Adil Qureshi to accept the report of the lending officer, seconded by Craig Nichols. Do we have any questions? Anyone opposed? Motion carried. I would now like to call upon John Loretto, a member of our audit committee, to present the report of the audit committee.
The Audit Committee continues to carry out its duties as stipulated by the Credit Union Act and regulations of 1994. Some of these duties include the following: review the policies, procedures, and controls relating to legislative compliance, with particular focus on capital adequacy, risk weighting of assets, and liquidity. Reviewing quarterly reports prepared by the internal auditor regarding internal controls and policy compliance. Recommending the appointment of the external auditor to the board of directors and Equity Credit Union members at the annual general meeting. Review the qualifications, independence, and performance of the auditors. Serve as the principal communication link between the external auditor and the board of directors, and in particular, review and agree to the auditor's terms of engagement and scope of audit. And finally, review the requirements for adherence to the new accounting policies as they relate to international financial reporting standards. The Audit Committee in 2019 met 5 times. The committee also met in February of 2020 with the external auditor to review and accept the 2019 year-end audited financial statements. The committee received full cooperation and support from management throughout the year. There were no matters of significance to be reported to the members. And that's my report, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, John. I have a motion from Art Jessup to accept the report of the audit committee, seconded by Adil Qureshi. Do we have any questions? Any opposed? Motion carried. I would like to call upon Joe Bates, our external auditor from MNP Chartered Accountants, to present the auditor's report. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to the annual meeting again. It's my pleasure to present the auditor's report. The auditor's report is attached to the full set of financial statements of the credit union for the past fiscal year ended December 2019. I understand some of those statements are included in the annual report, and that the full set of statements is available should the members wish to see it, and I encourage you to do that. The auditor's report is attached to that set. The report increased in length a little while ago, and so it's quite long. I'll summarize the high points for you, and then if it's okay, read the key paragraph, which is our audit opinion paragraph. So the audit report is our opinion, again, with respect to the statements. The statements are the responsibility of the credit union's management, and our role as auditors is to arrive at a conclusion as a result of the audit to offer an opinion on those financial statements. In conducting the audit, there are Canadian auditing standards that we follow to become reasonably sure that the statements are free of material misstatement. And the audit work includes examining evidence on a test basis to support the amounts in the financial statements, as well as the amounts disclosed in the notes that accompany the financial statements. The opinion paragraph to the auditor's report reads as follows. We have audited the accompanying financial statements of Equity Credit Union Incorporated, which comprise the statement of financial position as at December 31, 2019, the statements of income and comprehensive income, changes in members' equity and cash flows for the year then ended, and a summary of significant accounting policies and other explanatory information and schedules. In our opinion, the financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the credit union as at December 31st, 2019, and its financial performance and its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with international financial reporting standards. And that was signed and finalized on February 27th, 2020. Tom has spoken quite a bit to the detail in the statement, so I won't say anything further. Happy, of course, Mr. Chair, to answer any questions if there's anything in respect to the audit.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions? Okay. I have a motion from Peter Sideris to accept the auditor's report, seconded by Janine Wilson. Do we have any questions? Any opposed? Motion carried. I'd like to call upon John Loretto, member of the Audit Committee, to make a recommendation for the appointment of the auditor for the year 2020.
It is the Audit Committee's recommendation that the appointment of MNP LLP as the auditors for the Equity Credit Union for the year 2020 be put to a motion, and I make that motion.
Seconded by Craig Nichols. Do we have any questions? Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay. I would now like to introduce Janine Wilson, the chair of the nominating committee, to announce the results of the election. Janine?
Hi. As you're all aware, this year we had to do the voting online. There were 6 candidates for 3 positions on the board.
Well, looks like we have lost Janine's audio, so I will continue on her behalf. Janine, are you back?
Yes?
Okay, wonderful. We lost you there. So
It says my internet connection's unstable. I'm terribly sorry.
No worries. Well,
there?
so why don't you start with voting already took place online and go from there.
Yeah, as I stated, and hopefully we're stable, there were 6 candidates for 3 positions on the board. All of them are 3-year terms, and the top 3 vote getters will get the 3-year terms. I'd like to congratulate the following candidates: Bill Downing, Adil Qureshi, Bonnie Downing, all former board members returning for another term.
Thanks, Janine. Wow, talk about a drum roll and suspense.
There you go. Sorry about that.
No worries. So good.
Been on meetings all day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would like to thank Adnan Malik, Frank Chomet, and Vishal Pua that did not get elected. Can I get a motion to destroy the ballots? I have a motion from Peter Sideris, seconded by Art Jessup. Do we have any questions? No questions. Any opposed? No opposed. Motion carried. Okay. I don't believe we have any unfinished business from last year, so we're going to move along to any new business. This is your opportunity as members to ask questions with regards to the credit union. So please feel free. So I'm getting an indication that we don't have any questions. And so I'm going to proceed. To our valued members, thank you for your continued support. By working together, we make Equity a stronger credit union for all of us. So now, thanks everybody for attending our first virtual AGM. We have a motion by John Loretto to adjourn the meeting. So at this point, I'd like to thank you all for participating and see you all next year. Thanks all.